All right, welcome everybody. We are live. Drop a flag emoji so we can see where you're joining from. I'm Michael Turner, CEO of The Code, and welcome. Wherever you're joining from in the world, whether this is your first or your 10th code training, we want you to be really present because these calls are not background noise. They're not something to half listen to while you do emails or some other chore. This is where we reset, we re-anchor, and this is where we make sure we're not just busy, but effective. Do you remember the analogy of the octopus on roller skates? If you can imagine an octopus with roller skates on each tentacle, there would be a flurry of activity, but no real movement. And tonight, we're going to talk about how to really move forward because it's a common productivity trap to be busy without results. So I want you to really lean in for this call. What we're about to cover is not motivation, it's not hype, and it's not theory. It's elite practical improvement and how to really move and achieve results. You see, in our profession and in life, most people fail not because they lack opportunity, but they fail because they don't really access their inner capacity. They operate at 40%, sometimes 50%, very rarely 80%, and almost never 100%. Not because they're incapable, but because they don't know how to stabilize their internal state long enough to execute consistently. And that's what separates amateurs from professionals. In business, in leadership, external conditions are always changing. Markets change, teams change, momentum fluctuates, emotions rise and fall. But high performers, they don't rely on conditions. They rely on their internal control. And today, you're going to learn a framework that's used in elite sport and high performance environments. Not theory from Instagram or from some tech dude, but from real performance structure, scientifically backed. Because potential means nothing without activation. Vision means nothing without daily execution. Energy means nothing without direction. And what our trainer today, Andy, is going to show is how to move from I know what I should do to I execute daily regardless of mood or circumstance. We talk a lot about inside the code about discipline, structure, and leadership, about economic alignment. Tonight is about the internal architecture behind all of that. How to take more control over your internal state, make stronger decisions under pressure, lead with clarity even when results fluctuate, and how to convert your capacity into daily measurable actions. This is not about doing more or being busier. This is about accessing more of who you already are, because the gap between where you want to be and where you are isn't external, it's internal. So I want you to do 3 things right now. First, remove distractions. Second, take notes like this is a masterclass. Third, commit to one thing that you will apply immediately, one principle that you will apply after this call. No consumption without implementation. That's the code standard, right? Now, I've known and worked with Andy for almost 20 years. Andy brings experience from high-level environments working with Olympians and elite German sports professionals to Fortune 500 CEOs, where mental state equates to measurable output. And tonight, he's going to give you practical frameworks that you can use immediately in your business. So get ready, because this session is about turning potential into performance and performance into daily results. Andy, welcome to the code.
Thank you very much, Michael. How long have we known each other now? 20 years, I think. Is that possible? It's always a pleasure working with you. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of the code here today. Back when I was just 15 years old, I more or less decided to bring my competitive soccer career to an unexpected end. What happened? Up until that point, as a teenager, I played on every soccer team in the highest league that existed back then. I was always a regular player. I was usually the captain, the team leader, and I just felt good. I loved this sport, but what happens then at that age? The competitive pressure increased, players from outside joined the team. New coaches came in. Results became more important than interpersonal relationships. In short, it was an atmosphere in which I no longer felt comfortable. My performance declined. I became a substitute player. That felt like a defeat to me. I felt like a loser. I had also lost the captain's armband. And for me, it was an atmosphere filled with nothing but pressure, stress, and tension. I had zero fun. Then I got clever advice like, you have to assert yourself, you just have to unlock your potential again. And I thought, somehow I know that already, but how am I supposed to do it? I just couldn't get it together. Back then I was still playing against players like Jürgen Klinsmann. For those of you who are a bit familiar with more recent German football history, Jürgen Klinsmann, born in 1964, was a World Cup champion with Germany. Among other things, he also coached the German national team at one point. I just want to say that at the age of 15, we were at the same football level. He then went to Stuttgart, started his world-class career, and I quit playing football. Exactly for this reason. Back then, I would have needed someone to show me or to have shown me how I could transform my potential into visible success. Because I still had the talent. I just couldn't put it into practice. And to escape from this overwhelming pain, quitting the habit completely and forever appeared to be for me personally the only absolutely possible solution. Have you ever met people with a lot of potential, but who weren't or aren't able to realize it? To turn that potential into visible success. Maybe you yourself belong to that group from time to time. And maybe you've also noticed this in your own business before. Maybe even with people you've worked with or wanted to work with, who then suddenly disappeared, who did what I did back then, who simply quit because they couldn't manage to use their great potential in such a way that it brings inner satisfaction and leads to outward success. And that's the title of this session. From potential to visible success. Discover exactly how professional networkers are able to transform and channel their inner strength into highly visible, daily, and truly actionable results. And if you think about how many careers have fallen by the wayside, how much money is lost month after month because people are unable to put their abilities into practice, especially when it really matters. Over the past 30 years, I have gotten to know thousands of networkers. I've had the privilege of meeting them, and in some cases, even accompanying them on their journey. And for example, there was Mike. Mike was someone who devoured books, especially in the field of personal development. He could list all the well-known authors in the field of personal development, as well as the contents of their books. He knew everything. But you know what? He didn't dare to approach people. He couldn't put his knowledge into practice. And that was one of the reasons why we worked together. Then there was Sabine. Sabine could list every detail of her products or those of her partner company. She knew the compensation plan inside and out. But she wasn't able to recruit partners. She couldn't turn her knowledge into success. And then there was also Melanie, just came to mind. Melanie, a really interesting example. Back then, Melanie was on the board of a handball club. And you know what? Within her handball club, she led meetings, spoke in front of all the members at the General Assembly, but she didn't dare to give a presentation about her own business. Can you imagine that? All people I had the privilege to work with. Why? Because it was about unlocking and using what was already there in a way that creates fulfillment and also generates money, ultimately. Drawing from the extensive experience at my specialized team tuning company, The comprehensive team tuning formula was carefully researched and developed, and it goes exactly like this. Visible success or visible performance equals open parenthesis, the potential value minus any disruptive factors, closing the parenthesis, then multiplied by the current state. And if you take a closer look at the formula, performance or success equals potential minus disruptive factors times state, then you realize if there are no disruptive factors, meaning no limiting programs, no success blocking constructs that we've picked up in life, and the state is optimal, you simply feel powerful, energized, and amazing. Then it is logically inevitable that your potential will be released as visible performance, 1-to-1 at 100%. Understandable? Among other things, I have also worked with the local team Frischhoff Göppingen in the Handball Bundesliga. That's the highest division there is in Germany. And with the A-youth team at the time, we had a home game against the then league leaders. And at halftime, we were, believe it or not, 6 goals behind. In handball, that's not the end of the world. But it's definitely ambitious to make up that difference. And we knew we were the better team, as silly as that may sound. Oddly enough, we knew it at halftime. Inside, the mood was great. We were sure we could still turn it around. 10 minutes into the second half, and we were 9 goals behind. And now you need to know, in handball, each half lasts 30 minutes. That means there was still 20 minutes left. And in those 20 minutes, a small miracle happened. Why? Because not only did we make up the 9-goal deficit, but we actually won by a margin of 3 goals in the end. That means this team made up 12 goals in 20 minutes. That's actually impossible. So why was it possible after all? Because the potential was there from the very beginning. The halftime deficit actually wasn't even necessary. The deficit in the second half, which grew even larger, wasn't necessary either. But the belief was always there. And at some point, the spark caught on. Do you know that feeling? At the moment when we got stronger, the opponent got weaker. And eventually things turned around. The opponent just became more and more insecure, while we became more and more confident. And then this supposed miracle happened. Huge celebration afterwards, league leaders defeated. After being 9 goals behind, we still won by 3 goals. I love this work, both in top-level sports for myself. Handball, football, professionals, and ambitious amateur players, or rather, more clubs and networkers. Network marketing, I love it. Both are emotional atmospheres. Both have this element of being measured against others, by results. Here, there are 1 or 2 games per week, and here there's a check every week, or per month, or a statement as well. And what I want to show you now, what I want to show you today and pass on to you is not just words. That's one thing, knowledge. Great. Without knowledge, we can't put anything into practice. But knowledge alone, you know the examples I've listed, from your own experience. Knowledge alone is useless. It's actionable knowledge that matters. And here's the thing. If you knew how it works and put it into practice every day, you would already have reached your goals. You would have already achieved your dreams, wishes, and goals. Most of the time, it's not even the knowledge, but the implementation. The consistency, the overcoming that's sometimes required, and this yes. To develop this confident demeanor and the power to be able to unleash your own potential. And that's exactly what we're going to train now in a very concrete way. That means I'm going to give you 2 tools, 2 instruments with which you can start unleashing your potential every day from now on. Okay? And we're going to train that. The 2 tools are called, first, power focusing. Second, performance booster. If you do these every day, it's maybe 10 minutes. That's all it takes. 10 minutes. And I predict for you, from now on, every day, 10 minutes. Doing these two exercises, using these two tools, and you won't recognize your business after 30 days. Why? Because this way, your potential, your access to yourself, to your resources, they will be unlocked. You have them under control. And now it's no longer about waiting for something, but you have it under control. And that's exactly what it's about. It's never the external circumstances. Do you know people with similar potential? In similar circumstances, in similar situations, with similar conditions, who achieve completely different results? How does that happen? How is it that person A breaks under the pressure? How is it that person B thrives under this pressure? Among other things, it's because of these two tools. Can you control that? That means it's not so much about the potential. That's already there. And it's also not about these external circumstances. They are what they are. It's about unleashing your potential within the given circumstances, in the given situation. Making yourself independent from these external factors, not letting yourself be influenced by any opinions, moods, governments, or the economy. Instead, I unleash my potential every day. And I'm completely independent of everything happening around me. Completely. Because my potential is there. And I do not allow any circumstances to sabotage my success. And if you want that too, then stay tuned and look forward to these two exercises. Power focusing. Power focusing is a breathing technique. It is used by both top athletes and, for example, elite military units. Exactly so. Why? This is a wonderful tool for dealing with pressure, stress, and tension, or rather, for rapidly increasing your stress resistance. And that's what we're going to do now. For this, you can sit down if you like, or stand like I am. Both are fine. And then please close your eyes for a moment. Closing your eyes means consciously shutting out the outside world and turning inward. Okay? And then simply focus on your breathing. Just notice how your breath is flowing in and out at this moment. Always. When you focus on your breath, you are present. Because your breath only ever flows in the present moment. Never in the past and never in the future. Always now. And then, with your next breath, let yourself fall into a certain breathing rhythm. Get into the flow. With your next inhale, breathe deeply through your nose and count to 4 in your mind. Hold your breath very briefly and then exhale very slowly through a slightly pursed mouth. As if you were blowing out a candle, like that. Exhale very slowly. Count silently to 10. Briefly hold your breath. Then inhale again for a count of 4 through your nose. Fill your lungs completely. Hold briefly. And exhale very slowly through your mouth with slightly pursed lips for a count of 10. Hold briefly. And do this 1 or 2 more times. Inhale for a count of 4. Fill your lungs through your nose. Hold briefly, then exhale very slowly and gently for a count of 10. Then just take a deeper breath and let your breathing settle back into a rhythm that feels comfortable for you now, and simply open your eyes. Could you feel that you immediately calm down, that your nervous system instantly relaxes? Why? Because by doing this, among other things, you stimulate your vagus nerve, a central control element within you, in your nervous system, which influences how you feel. And remember this team tuning formula. It's your state. What is your state? And are there any disruptive factors? Then here, we can reduce those and improve your state. Okay? You can do this for 1 minute. You can do this for 10 minutes. Do it in a way that feels comfortable for you. You can do this in the morning. You can do this before important conversations. You can do this during the day if you ever feel restless, if you think everything is getting too much, or when you're in stressful moments. 1, 2, 3 breaths. If you're trained, you're instantly relaxed, instantly focused, instantly concentrated again. And you can achieve that in seconds, in minutes, even faster if you're trained. Top teams that I work with, they do this during halftime. They come into the locker room. They do this breathing frequency for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that's all it takes. They're immediately back, 10 times more focused and concentrated. All the stress is gone, and cognitively, they're receptive again. Now the head coach, now the trainer can tell them what he wants to say. Now they're fully receptive. And afterwards, before they go back out, onto the pitch, into the hall, onto the field, that's when they get another energy booster. And that's what we're going to do now as well. The performance booster. You can also do both together if you want. Performance booster. Performance booster means you consciously choose, how do I want to be now or today or whenever today? If you do it in the morning or before a conversation, now, what state do I want to be in right now? You consciously choose your state. You're no longer a plaything of any stupid external circumstances. I mean, if they're great, then that's good. Then we're in a good state. Then we're happy. No, you choose. And make a decision. You can choose, I want to be in a state that is powerful or confident or joyful or amused or focused. Whatever it may be. The important thing is you decide consciously. And now I'm simply going to enter a state of sovereignty. And what you do then is you embody this state. And I mean that literally. What is it like when you feel sovereign or powerful or joyful, whatever you want? How do you stand? Right now, I'm in a sovereign state. How do you stand? How are your legs? How is your body tension? What kind of look do you have? What is your facial expression like? Do you have a certain gesture? How do you breathe when you are sovereign, when you are joyful, when you are powerful, when you are confident? And when you're sovereign, maybe you have a smart smile on your lips with these thoughts. I am invincible. Everything is fine. I can achieve whatever I want. Not arrogant, inner security. This standing, this upright posture. Maybe shoulders slightly back, gaze slightly upward. Try it out for yourself. Embody your state. Why? Your body sends a signal to your brain. So, dear brain, this is how your owner wants to feel. Okay? Owner. This is how your owner wants to feel. So, there is an interaction between body language and what neurotransmitters are released here. Into your body, through the bloodstream, into your cells. And you can control that. Understandable? Good. So you just play around with it. It's a bit of a matter of practice. First, you choose this state again, to be confident. And then you go through your body. How am I standing? How am I breathing? What about my gestures, my facial expressions? What am I thinking? How am I speaking? You truly embody that essence, and you fully embody that, and you continue to play with it until you finally feel, now, right now, I truly feel this way. Then imagine you come out of this power-focused state. You are truly centered, truly focused, truly within yourself, and now you choose this state, this powerful state, and you embody it. What do you think? How will people react to you when you go into your next conversation like this? When you hold your next meeting like this? When you do your next follow-up like this? When you pick up the phone like this? People can sense it. If you are there in person, they see it. You radiate something. Not only does it affect you, it also affects others. Why did the team that was leading by 9 goals in handball back then, why did they collapse? Because we as a team became so strong. That's just how we were. Mentally, emotionally, in terms of presence, so strong. That it radiated a sense of dominance. And this dominance transferred to our own team. One after another, the players became more confident, more dominant, clearer, and returned to their potential. With the opponent, exactly the opposite happened. They kept getting weaker. That doesn't mean your listener is going to get weaker or that your audience will become weaker. Not at all. It simply means that you have this powerful presence, which in that moment is perceived as extremely pleasant by the person opposite you because you radiate confidence. People need security. If you are insecure, you will get insecure results. And if you are confident, you will get confident results. And when you act from this state, then it becomes inspired action. But of course, it's about taking action. Performance, unleashing your abilities, showing your potential, this always starts with taking the first step into active action. That's what it comes down to. And if you, now let me use myself as an example, act in this confident manner, now move on to the next action when you say, all right, now I'm going into this conversation. What do you think? How much power is in that? With the potential, with the knowledge you have, with what you want to say now, you will become a completely different presence, in the truest sense of the word, with completely different results. Again, it's not just that you are confident yourself. You yourself are confident. You radiate this confidence. And with that, you offer other people a space they want to let themselves fall into. People are looking for security, especially in today's uncertain times. All over the world, people are searching for security. And your product is, first and foremost, yourself. You are the most important factor. And when you radiate confidence, people feel comfortable in your space. When people feel comfortable in your space, they enjoy listening to you. And when they enjoy listening to you, you can convey your message and present your product, your service, your business. And it will resonate. Okay? Good. So at the same time, you naturally become a role model for others, a role model in your team. Why? Yes, because others see that you are able to unlock your potential. That inspires others. And when they see it in you, they know that they can do it too. You are welcome to pass on these 2 elements. Just say, they're from Blessing. They're from Andreas Blessing from Germany. No, you are welcome to pass them on in style. Absolutely. That makes you an inspirer. That shows other people that they can do it too. And do you know that feeling? As soon as you see that it's possible for someone else, you start to believe in yourself much more and think, man, if he or she can do it, then it's possible for me too. After all, I have the potential too. So power focusing, again, this breathing technique, which is also used by elite military units, top athletes, and top teams, power focusing, this breathing rhythm. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds, hold briefly, exhale for 8 to 10 seconds through slightly pursed lips, hold briefly again. Why this brief pause? This brief pause is like a little reset for the brain. That means if you're very stressed right now, if you have these disruptive factors, these distracting thoughts, they stop because of this. And again, you'll notice that the exhalation is longer. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your vagus nerve. And that, among other things, also controls certain areas of your nervous system. Access to more potential. You immediately connect the performance booster. You open your eyes after this breathing technique and say, okay, what state do I want to embody today? And maybe it's the state of strength where you say, stop powerful. Today I'll show the world what it means to appear powerful. Not running people over, not overwhelming people, not at all. But a powerful, confident, outwardly active presence so that people notice this man, this woman radiates confidence. This man, this woman knows what she's doing, what he's doing. That's how you reach people. And that's how you put yourself in a peak state of neon. There's a high probability that you'll unleash your full potential into visible success. Okay? So which state? And then you embody it. That's called embodiment. You can Google it. It's its own field, even in psychology. Embodiment. You embody a state that you want to have. You choose. And now you're no longer at the mercy of external factors. Because most of the time, something happens and we say, oh God, why always me? My goodness, someone said no. And what do? We actively put ourselves in a bad state, which means we block access to our potential. How crazy is that? You're not going to do that anymore from today on. From today on, you are the master of yourself. From today on, you decide very consciously, okay? So, you act from this state. And with a bit of practice, it will become very, very easy for you. Bam. And then it might be that you do these 2 exercises in the morning to start your day. Mindset. Then if you're used to it, with this breathing technique, you do it for 3 minutes. You do it and then spend another 2 minutes getting into this state, embodying it. That's 5 minutes a day. And do it. And if you initially feel some resistance, because maybe your inner voice says, can 2 such exercises really have that much power? Yes, they do. I can tell you from experience. Elite military units wouldn't do this otherwise. Top teams in handball, soccer, and other sports wouldn't do it either if it weren't valuable. Believe me. But it may be that your system isn't used to it yet. And it takes a small act of will to say, from now on, I'll do this every day until it becomes a habit. Right? And again, by doing this, you inspire others so that they can do it just like you. And again, in that moment, you take back your power. The external circumstances have no power over you. And when everything is crumbling around you, you remain the rock in the surf. And interestingly enough, this often creates exciting results. And the things happening outside of you in your life are not so dramatic, but often very joyful, often very positive. Beautiful coincidences just happen. Why? Well, because you're in the corresponding vibration. That too, of course, is an element that should not be underestimated. All clear? Power focusing, performance booster. Those are the 2 elements. From now on, you will always apply them. And again, do this for 30 days and you won't recognize your business anymore. Why? Because not only will you catapult your inner state and thus your charisma into a whole new dimension, but you'll also take much more active steps and really get into your activities. And with a level of energy you've never experienced in your life before. And that makes a difference. It simply can't be any other way. Okay? Let's go back to the beginning, to my story about football. That would never happen to me again today. Today I could handle it. It's too late for my football career. But definitely not for other athletic activities, and especially not for business. And it can be the same for you. Now, with this ingredient, you will become even more powerful, even more valuable, even more successful. And the Makes, Sabines, and Melanies of this world, can take full advantage of these two elements to gain a profound understanding of exactly what they truly possess deep within their own souls. And just to feel this deep satisfaction, this contentment, to be able to show what I am capable of, that is such a wonderful feeling. And that is exactly what I truly wish for you today. Real potential doesn't just wait around for you to eventually discover it. Your incredible potential, your own unique potential, is already there, waiting inside you right now. Your primary responsibility is to take proactive steps to guarantee that it can circulate with complete freedom and that it can stream outward through you without any form of obstruction or hindrance into visible results. For example, into visible business success. Why? Because you already have everything within you to easily double or triple your success. Do you hear that? You have everything inside you to instantly double or triple your success. Break those ridiculous chains. Let go of all those limitations. And again, this doesn't work through the mind. You have to actively do something. It's your system. And why these tools? Because that's the language your system understands. Your system doesn't understand your words. You know that. Nothing changes at all. You need the tools with which you can actually program your system. And then everything changes. And then you become the master of your world. And then you see these external results. Okay? So once again, the potential is already there. And I bet the potential within you is already so great right now that you could easily double or even triple your success with it. Apply these two elements, these two tools, these two exercises, and you will have a concrete way to access your potential. Transform it even more strongly into external, visible activity and thereby achieve many, many more visible results on the outside, okay? You don't just owe that to yourself, but you also owe it to those around you. Be an inspiration, show them what's possible, and just feel amazing because of it. That's what I wish for you. With that in mind, all the best, take care, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime. And now I'll hand it over to Steve. Steve, please take over.
Wow, Andreas, that was great. I really enjoyed the training. Thank you. I got so much from it, as I'm sure all our Code members did. Your skills and expertise that you apply to your sports coaching has so many aligned lessons that we, all as network marketers, can learn from and then apply to our team building and business. Your sports training background made me think of the story of the sports runner, Roger Bannister. For those that don't know the story, Roger Bannister was a middle distance runner, but not a full-time runner in the way elite athletes are today. In the early 1950s, he was a medical student at Oxford University, juggling hospital shifts, exams, and training sessions squeezed into lunch breaks. Running was important to him, but it wasn't his whole life. At the time, the running distance of a mile, what we know as 1,500 meters, was athletics' greatest psychological barrier. Experts confidently claimed it was physically impossible for a human to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Bannister didn't buy it. He believed the limit was more mental than physical, exactly aligned to much of what Andreas has just shared. And Bannister trained accordingly, focusing on judging his pace, his interval work, and efficiency rather than just grinding miles. But the secret ingredient to Bannister's ultimate success was having a coach to guide him, and his sports coach was a gentleman called Franz Stampfel. Stampfel was a German-speaking, like yourself, Andreas, though Austrian-born, working as a sports coach based in the UK, who played a crucial role in Bannister's training and preparation. With guidance from his coach, Bannister planned his big attempt carefully. On May the 6th, 1954, when the running conditions were far from perfect. It was cold, windy, hardly ideal to create history. Yet Bannister committed. Teammates paced him through the early laps, and on the final lap he kicked hard, emptying whatever he had left. When the announcer began to announce the time, 3 minutes, the crowd heard no 4 minutes. The crowd erupted before the sentence had even finished. Bannister had run the mile in 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. The moment changed sport forever. Within weeks, 2 other runners broke the barrier as well. And within a year, 5 people had run the mile in under 4 minutes, proving Bannister's point. Once people believed it could be done, it suddenly could. And that is one of the big takeaways I got from Andreas' training. The power to achieve success lies within your belief systems. The other key thing to keep in mind is how important a role a coach plays. Roger Bannister may have been the one to be the first to break the 4-minute barrier, but a significant part of what got him there was his sports coach, Franz Stampfel. Today, you all had your own personal sports and business coach in Andreas Blessing, and I hope you apply to your business and life all the great information Andreas shared. Now, be like Roger Bannister and use that coaching to break your own barriers. For now, I want to thank you all for joining us on this live event training for the code. Thank you all. Thank you again to our special guest trainer, Andreas Blessing. And just finally, a date for you to all write down. Our next live Xterra Educator call is on Sunday, the 22nd of March, same time, 4 p.m. UK time. The link is always in the banner inside your code or Xterra dashboard. For now, from Michael and myself, have a fantastic month of March. Break your own belief barriers on what you can achieve. And we will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.